Welcome to our new Halloween project. This is one of our new overlay framed pieces. So you just attach the frame and the overlay with some glue. I've got a couple of really neat things going on. What I've done is I've used stencils for the castle and the windows with the moon on one stencil, and then this whole awesome background word stencil that you could use for a zillion projects. That's just fun, fun, fun. But I love that we've created this kind of staying in the background feel to the words, so they're there but they're not really there. Kind of adds just some dimension to it. So we've got our dreamy background, plus we've got our dreamy words, plus we've got our dreamy clouds going on. We've got Glamour Dust glitter paints on the spider webs and on the word, and then we've just got cute little monsters right there. So who wouldn't love this project? Perfect to drill some holes and hang it, or set it in an easel, or just put a hanger on the back and hang it on your wall. Okay, so we're going to get ready to paint our Halloween frame. I love these frames. They're so beautiful just by themselves. They're art. I love it. We've got an Italian sash brush, and what I like about this, if you use just like a regular dome, they're kind of stiffer, and this guy is way more flexible and he's a little bit more open. Okay, so I really like the length of the bristles and I like the flexibility of it. Anything like that would do, but this is just a really good version. You could spray paint the frame and that would be perfectly fine. I'm on my nonstick mat, and so I'm going to make a big old mess all over this, and I don't care because it'll all just wipe right off. Alright, so what I'm going to do is just pounce over here, and then I'm going to stipple like sideways and then stipple back the other way. Okay, and I'm not going to worry too much about the edges are already dark, but I do want the whole top base coated, and probably inside and outside the frame, and then you can pick and choose how much you feel like you need to have based on the inside, but this gets into there a lot, more than just a regular brush. And it also avoids any ridges and glumpy paint and stuff. So I'm going to do one whole coat of this, and then I'll redo where I need to, and let it dry. Okay, I've got my squirt bottle filled with water, and I'm just going to go ahead, and I can scrape this up, it just comes right off. But the squirt bottle softens everything. And what's neat about this nonstick mat is it actually, two-part epoxy doesn't stick, hot glue doesn't stick, or it will stick on there, but it doesn't stay stuck, if that makes sense. So everything comes off of this. I haven't had anything stick and not come off yet, so perfect little mat. So see how that just softens and it just all kind of comes off together. Okay, so I'll do this and then clean up my mess with the paper towel. Okay, and that's all there is to it for a quick and easy cleanup. Alright, so we're going to take a great big old giant 4-inch brush, and we're going to get our boards sealed. We're using multi-purpose sealer. I'm going to be using stencils on this project, and if you don't seal, the smoothness of some of the woods will allow the paint to peel away. So what you're doing when you use a sealer, you're not just sealing in the wood. Like, this is really a very hard product, and it's very like stable and stuff like that. But what you're doing is you're using the sealer, and you are creating a paint sandwich, if you will. So what that means is you're going to put your sealer down. The sealer is designed to penetrate and attach to the wood. But then your paint comes on top, and you put your paint over the top of it, and the paint is designed to work with the sealer. And then you come along and you put your varnish on top, and your varnish is designed to penetrate through the paint. Well, the paint is grabbing onto this, so everything does this. And if you don't have a sealer down, then you are interrupting that process. So it's a really important process, and it's something that we kind of take for granted and we don't pay much attention to. But it's not just to, you know, make your wood not to be like your wood to be weatherproof. It's to also make the paint behave the way the paint should. And you know, I love that. I doubt the manufacturers so many times, but they really don't come up with products that we don't need. They come up with them because they have to come up with them. Sometimes I think it's the other way, but mostly things like a multi-purpose sealer is going to be something that you don't want to skip that step. Okay, so I've got several stencils to use with this. We're going to do a really cool background thing with these background words. Neat thing about stencils is they're reusable. So you can do many projects and give them as gifts and things like that and use them for different techniques. I've got my castle and my moon and my windows and my word, and so we're going to prep these using tack it over and over. So we're going to do them on the back side, and we've got a bottle of Tack It. This is a repositionable stencil adhesive, and so I'll just pour some out on my palette. I could do this on my nonstick palette, but Tack It is a really strange beast. It becomes like a big sticky post-it note on your stencil. That's how it works, but it's super sticky, and I don't like to have it on my stuff. I don't like to clean it up. I don't like to do anything with it, so I just try to do it on little throwaway things like the wax paper. Okay, and then what I'll do is I'll use my jumbo dauber, and I'll just hold everybody down and get a nice thin coat. The heavier your Tack It is, the more sticky you are, and that means you're going to have more grab with your paint. So you do want to make sure that you don't have too much grab. You can actually use this on fabric. That's what it was designed for appliques and all that kind of stuff. It stays sticky after you, it stays sticky like forever, but it will not wash off, so you can wash your stencil and it won't affect anything. It's a really, really awesome product. Okay, so if you happen to get Tack It on your hands or on something that you don't want it on, from your hands what you can do is you can use like olive oil or some kind of oil. The oil will neutralize the Tack It and that will take everything away. I haven't actually tried an oil on my stencil, but the hand sanitizer will remove the Tack It over and over, so you can actually have good success with that, but it's a little bit work. So do make sure that you put Tack It where you want it, otherwise you're going to have it there for a while. The other thing, do not ever, once this dries and it's clear, that's when it's ready to apply to your project, but never put it on paper. It likes to stick like forever on paper. If you do happen to have it fall face forward onto paper, which I have done so many times, I thought my stencils were ruined, but then it occurred to me that you could just soak your stencil with the paper attached to it and then just kind of rub the paper off, and your stencil will be fine, but it'll be a little bit messy, but it will at least not be thrown away. Okay, my last piece of advice when we're working with the jumbo daubers and applying our Tack It over and over is to go ahead and wash this right out right away with just clear running water. And you never use soap on the sponges because then you'll be all spongy and soapy for a long time. So just a little bit of water cleanup right away, and then you can reuse this over and over. Okay, I'm going to get my base coat done. I'm going to use the 4-inch brush instead of a roller. The roller would be slightly faster, but I hate cleaning the rollers. I just need to get one coat on there and then a quick little rinse of this brush, and it'll be clean and I don't have to get my hands all mucky. And I'll just kind of scooch. When you want to keep from pushing paint over the edge of your project, and what you'll just do is you'll just pull it so that you feather off the edge. Okay, and then smooth the rest. Okay, just one base coat and let it dry, because then we're going to do a slip slap. And if you notice when you slip slap here, notice that these spots right there and there and there, anywhere where the brush like sits down, will become like this background. So we need one background of blue dried so that when it lifts off it, you can't see things like this. Okay, so we'll let it dry. Alright, so the next thing we want to do is we want to pick up a little bit of drying time extender in our brush and our base coat color. Okay, just a little bit, you don't want it to be too gooey. And then just get it based. Get it based and wet, and like if you're like me, it's summertime, or that time of the year, any time of year when it's really dry. You want to use a drying time extender to keep your paint open. And just a word of caution, drying time extender does not love water. So you want to use drying time extender as your water when you are using drying time extender. Okay, so I'll get this on here. I'll come back to you as soon as I get it done. Okay, so we've got the nice coat and it's nice and wet. We're going to dip into some white and our paint, and we're going to make a light blue for the middle. We'll slip slap that, and then we'll start walking it out, and now that's going to start mixing with those other colors in the outer edges, but that middle part will stay nice and light. so just keep walking that out. You want to move fairly quickly, you don't want to dilly-dally around. Okay, so right now it's a big giant mess, which is fine. Okay, now we'll go into more white and build up that middle area. So we'll walk that out. And so we're slip slapping, which means we're doing like a series of little X's, kind of one way, then one way, then one way, then one way, and just keep working that. Pick up more white and walk that out so that you have good fade. I'm going to be careful of any weird brush strokes. If you need to, you can go in the dark and walk in from the outside. Okay, so now go back into the light again. This color, this dark blue color, just really swallows white really nicely, so that means that you can kind of keep adding it, and you'll never really get light. But we do want to be able to see our spider web when we lay it over, so we want to, don't leave this too dark out there, but then you don't want to get it too light either, because then will be too much contrast with your spider web. So that's one of the things that we've struggled with just a little bit, is that those spider webs are very, very busy. And so then the art in the middle can get lost. So we want to keep our tone, our values real close together on this outer edge, but just light enough to be seen. Okay. And now I go back and I start futzing and playing. So now white again. And I'll start just gently. I'm not pushing as hard. Now I'm just kind of whisking. I'm still slip slapping, but whisking instead of pressing and trying to mix everything. Okay, and that's going to keep the color a little bit more, the color that you put down. Anything that you don't want, you press hard. Anything you do want to preserve, you keep by just whisking away. Now I've got to go get my purple. Okay, I've got my purple, Indian turquoise, and desert turquoise. I'm not sure which turquoise I'm going to use. I'm going to get my edge colors done. This is going to be purple out here. I'm going to just kind of walk it up my edge and then walk it in. Okay, so just get it kind of out there and then just kind of bring it in to your middle a little bit. Pick up any of the medium if you need to reawaken your colors. And just walk that on in. Okay, that's going to be more underneath the bat things. The bat things, yeah, technical terms. Okay, walking it in, and then walk this in over here. If you start getting lifting marks, get it a little bit wetter. Okay, so now I've got that in. You want graduation. You want to have a gradual shift of colors coming out of there. Okay, so now I'm going to wipe my brush out. You don't want to rinse it in water because you're going to make a little bit of a mess. Okay, so I'm going to go into my mix of my blue and make sure that I have this inside fading into my purples. And then I'll drag my purples, oops, hang on. Stop it. Drag my purples in just a little bit. Okay, gotta pick up some medium. Reawaken. Okay, so see how that's getting just a little bit streaky and pulley over there? We now need to move quickly A little bit more purple over there. Okay, and now wipe it out again. And we'll go into our Indian turquoise. And some medium. And then we'll bring that out into the colors. Can take just a little bit of desert turquoise out here in that middle ground. Okay, so I think we've got some good drama, we've got some good purples. I'm wondering if I have enough purple. I'm going to come back out there and just do a little bit more. Dragging that around. The reason I love Halloween so much is it's just such a fun season to paint for. These backgrounds are a blast. Okay, so now we've got some purple streaks going in and we've got some dreamy stuff. And now we hit the blow dryer for probably 15 minutes. The drying time extender definitely stays wet for a while. Okay, while I'm waiting for things to dry on my blue, I'm going to take Glamour Dust Ultrafine Glitter Paint, and I'm going to apply it over the whole entire surface. And it just looks like paint, and it dries clear and glittery. So I'm going to add, I want to probably add 2 coats of this, because it gets a little bit more sparkly each time you add it, but you don't need to worry about doing the sideways thing. And I'm going to put it over my bats, but I'm probably going to be putting a black crusty glitter on my bats. So even though I'm not planning on it just being this, it's okay for it to be there. Okay, so this is it dried, and I don't know, yeah, you can see the glitter. This is really cool stuff because the glitter dries and it doesn't come off in your fingers. So now I'll go ahead and just put another coat for extra sparkles. And then let that dry. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and glitter my bats. Let's see if I can show you what that looks like. It's actually real sparkly, you can't tell very much. We're going to use bead and glitter glue. This stuff is like a glitter magnet. Works fantastic. I didn't think I'd need it, but I've used it for a couple of years now and I wouldn't do without it. We're going to just use an old scuffly brush and we're just going to base. And I'm over a glitter tray. This has got a little spout on the end, so it'll dump it right back in. The other day I had a kind of an interesting awakening. Glitter isn't a cheap thing. I didn't realize that it can be a couple dollars a bottle or per color, and you don't want to be throwing that away. So by having a glitter tray, then you are recycling your glitter and you're not wasting your money or your glitter, and that makes it so we can afford to do many more things. Anyway, so I'll get this on and I will then sprinkle the glitter over, and then I'll do the rest of my bats. Okay, I've got my stencil laying over there. It's lined up in the corner. And I'm just going to do the moon right now. I'm going to do it with a couple of coats. So I tack it on the back, so that'll help anything from bleeding under my stencil. And I'll just do a nice even coat. Okay, and that'll probably take 2 coats, I'm thinking. You want to do a nice all over even texture. Don't let it get uneven. And if you go back over it, it'll kind of flatten the little bumps that happen because you're stippling. So you'll get a really smooth finish. Okay, I've got 2 coats of the Canyon Orange plus the Marigold. It's a 3-to-1 mix. I'm going to put a 3rd coat on there using my stencil as a screen. So I don't like base coating round items like the edges of circles because they're really easy to get irregular. And so I love the idea of having a little stencil-y screen. So get that on there, get that wet. Okay, that was 2 coats I did already. And you want to kind of sweep over. Okay, and then I want to just take a little bit of yellow light and just bring that in as a little, ooh, high yellow. Okay, that's how we fix that. Okay, we'll just bring that in as a little bit of a kind of glowing kind of thing. Okay, I think that'll be good. Take that off. And look at that perfect circle. That's awesome. So I'll just patch my little edges here. Didn't quite line myself up correctly. Okay. Okay, I'm going to lay my overlay on my piece, and this is the Triple Threat Ghostwriter, and this is a ceramic lead. They erase with water or spit or varnish or whatever. It won't leave marks on your piece. And I just want to mark where my overlay goes so that when I do the words, I won't extend past the boundary. So then, so watch this. Just ta-da, a little bit of good old-fashioned spit. And then the neat thing is this has got a white ceramic lead, a gray ceramic lead, so you can do light or dark surfaces, and it's got a roller ball without any ink for tracing your patterns, and a huge old padded grip. And that padded grip to me is amazing because I used to hate tracing my patterns, and now I can just trace and trace and trace, and I don't have any hand fatigue. Okay, and then it has an eraser on the back end as well, and you can refill the lead, so it's just really a versatile little marking tool. And I've got glitter there, it won't matter in the end. Okay, so we'll lay over our words and see. I think we want, let's see if we can get Frankenstein all the way on there. Will creepy be on there? Not really. All right. I think the Stein will speak for itself, or do we want to go up and get rid of that? Let's see. And we'll go down. Get nice and straight. You don't want your letters spilling out of your piece. Make sure I'm going to be all on board. I'll get it all stuck down. I can't get it back off. Come on. Go. I think I want my creepy just a little closer to its edge. And Frankenstein's right on his edge. Don't want a whole bunch of white space over there. Okay. And now we'll get stencil brush and a couple of paper towels. Use the blue paper towels in this case because we don't want any pilling, if you will. And then I think we'll go ahead and use our stencil for the moon. And what we'll do is we'll lay this right back over that, and we'll use it as a stencil through the for the letters. So now what I'll do is I'll take my brush, dip in my paint, and rub on there, and then we'll come over here and just give it a nice soft, instead of being like really strong, it'll be just really nice and faint. Am I supposed to go? Yeah. Nope, I think I'm not haunted. I need to go back and fix that. Drat. Okay, I'm Let's go take a peek. Whoops, wrong thing to peel up. Okay, I think we can go just a little bit stronger. And I think I want to go ahead and erase my little mistake there right away so I don't have to repaint. What I'm going to do is use this purple thread. Come here, little guy. There we go. I'm going to spit on it, and if you spit on this eraser, when the paint is fresh enough, it'll erase the paint. It's a pretty awesome little technique. There you go. If it's too fresh, you can dig a hole. I don't think I'm too fresh. I think my finger was dirty. Just did that. Okay, I think that'll be plenty. So now that's all fixed and I don't have to repaint and worry about that. Okay, and now we'll go back on our letters. I'll just darken from the base. Okay, now take that away. And now I'll take another brush in my dark color, which is going to be Admiral Blue. And I'm going to still need to mask next to my circle, which I'm trying to think of what I can use. I'll figure that out in a second. Okay, so now we'll go with the Admiral Blue. Get those colors on there. And then on Frankenstein. All the way to our R. Just fill in all these, and then we can strengthen the bases of them if we want to as well. Let's take a little peek, see if that's dark enough. Oh yeah, look at that. That is so cool looking. Love it. Okay, now when we get into the center area, we want just a light dusting because it's so much lighter in the center. That's dark enough. I might have even gotten it just a little bit dark there, but here's what we could do if you did. You can go back into your Indian turquoise dirty brush with this dark color, and you could just tone that back. Okay, so now we know how to fix that if we're getting a little bit dark. I forgot about the light center because I have it covered up with my stencil. So see how that's just a little bit fainter now. Okay. So we could start down here where it's darkest and then move up. Oops, I am going to be careful. I can see my line, I'm just not paying, I'm talking and not paying attention to what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing. Okay, and then as we move up, so I can go straight up the side, and then as we move into these areas, my color will be softer, and then I'll just get lighter and lighter pressure, just softer and softer. As we go. So harder and softer and softer. Yeah, that's just so stinking lovely. I love this technique. I love word stencils, especially these ones with all the different words on them. So fast, so easy, so awesome. Big old spider just for Greg there, our video editor. Sorry, Greg. Okay, let's take a peek. Do we need it deeper? We could probably do it a little bit stronger down here at the bottom. Now this is where we go in and we say, okay, this corner right here, strong. Over here, strong, fading. off the edge? I think that was off the edge, but I don't think it'll matter because it's so dark over there. Okay, what do we think of that? Yeah. And I didn't even need to, oops, I need my little T bottom there. Super. We're going to put windows where you want them. Okay, so you just choose your windows and we're going to do it in that first gold mix. And coat Adduya, and then that's the easiest way in the world to ever get your windows. Make sure you don't carry color over on your piece. So wipe off the back part of the stencil and just add some windows. Okay, we're going to get our word based, and that's going to be in the medium color or in the first mix color. You'll probably have to do it 2 times. Okay, so I've got 2 coats on my letters. Now I'm going to go with burnt umber at the bottom of my letters, and I'm going to have to wait for that to dry. Okay, I did go ahead and just do the same thing that I did with the letters. I repeated down at the bottom with the canyon orange or the burnt orange and a little yellow light at the top. Sorry, I skipped out on you there. I got busy and just did it. Okay, so I could go into my windows and add a little bit of the orange. That might be a little bit deeper, but I think I'll wait until I get my little dudes traced on and see what happens then. Okay, I've got the overlay laying on top of this, and I don't know about you, but if you wanted to, you could stop right here and you wouldn't have to put another thing on here. I think this is almost a finished project just like it is. So if you like the monsters and you want to go deeper, continue, but this could be a good finishing place right here. Okay, I'll get in a little bit closer. We're going to do some dry rubbing to finish. We got our base coats done. We're going to take his face and we're going to, Frankenstein's face is going to be a Hauser light green in the middle. Just get a nice highlight, kind of evenly in the middle. Bring the light to the center of his face, because he's a star. Oops. If you start getting a little bit rough like that, that means you haven't wiped off enough paint. And if you're too wet, then you'll dig a hole. So I'll stay out of there for a minute. I'm going to get out my green tea because I think I'm going to need to go one lighter. So it's always like a sequence of colors. And then I'm going to switch while I'm waiting for his face to dry to my round brush. And, oops, and I'm going to give his little knuckles a little dry brush highlight. Okay, now you can see his knuckles. And we'll give his ear a little bit of a highlight as well. Somebody's left off an ear. Okay, so we'll let that dry for just a second, and we'll go back and get that. So in the meantime, I think I'm dry enough to go for my second round of highlights on his face. So you just build that up from the center. Pardon me. And that's a little bit brighter. I'm going to let that dry for a second, and then we'll put his next highlights on. Okay, so we'll go to his shirt. His shirt is going to be highlighted with Wild Orchid. Oops, a little bit drier. Okay, so that'll just make him start to pop just a little bit. And then we'll probably go into soft lilac. Dirty brush between the colors, and that'll make everybody kind of family. Okay, and I think he could use just a little bit of texture on him. So I've got this sticky mesh stuff. I'll go into the soft lilac and give him a little bit of a, I've got frayed clothes kind of texture. Okay, brightens him up just a little. I'm going to knock that down just a touch. Okay, we'll repeat on his face with green tea. Okay, now we can see him. And then just put a little bit more green tea right in the middle a little. We'll highlight that ear. Another highlight with the green tea. And then we'll have some things to do with his face once I get the pattern on. Alright, we're going to shade on Frank's shirt with Dioxazine purple. I'll just bring him in a little bit and help him glow and shine. Go right over your highlights. Okay. And then we will take, I don't know that I want to shade his face or not. I can't decide. Let's go ahead and base his whoozy whatsy things, those things that stick out of his neck. We'll just base him with khaki tan. Okay. Okay, we're going to shade Frank's hair and Drac's hair with a little float of turquoise. Okay, and that'll just make it look like there's a sheen coming off their hair. Okay, and Frankenstein's hair. We'll give him little locks that are being pulled in and stuff. Okay, same thing here. Okay, I think that'll work. Let's shade with the Diox underneath these little, whatever they are called, lightning bolt receivers. Bolts, that's thick. Okay, and then under his chin as well. He should be casting a fairly big shadow, I would think. Alright, we're going to highlight Drac's reds with coral blush. I hate to use all these colors and not use very much of them, but they're just little areas. Okay, you rinse your brush because I'm not using that color in the piece anymore. And we're going to shade with the Alizarin Crimson. Trying to give us a nice deep Dracula-like red. So notice we always go over the highlights with our shade color, and that always kind of glazes everything down. Alright, I think I'm going to try shading Frankenstein's face. I think it's going to need it. We're going to get out Evergreen. And yeah, that'll take everybody down just a little bit. You always want to be able to see which direction you're shading in. So you want to flip your piece over. Never try to shade, you know, across, like backwards. Just doesn't work very well. And we'll shade his fingers as well. And then under his hair. Okay, yeah, that looks much better. Alright, we're going to float on Dracula's tie with the same turquoise color, just to be able to say there's a tie there. His shirt is based with bleached sand. And let's go ahead and dry rub on his jacket with desert turquoise, I think. She says with a question mark. Yeah, I think that'll do. And now Indian turquoise. Okay, and that gives him a little bit of relief from behind the castle. Okay, I think I have to shade his jacket or his cape with Dioxazine purple. I'm wanting it to read a little bit of purple, but still stay blue. Yeah, I think that'll do a good job. Okay, that just adds just a little bit of a royal color to this. And it brings a little bit more of that purple around that we have in Frank. The poor mummy is sitting over there very neglected. We need to dry rub in the center of Dracula's face with some bleached sand. Oops, way too much. Oops, and that must be my blending finger because that has got paint all over it. Okay, so just get that nice and highlighted. Okay, and we'll take our round brush and highlight, dry brush his fingers. And it makes them show. Alright, we'll take our mummy and we'll shade his unders and overs with burnt umber. So wherever he goes under something, you want to shade next to the thing that's over it, if that makes any sense at all. Look at your color picture and you can isolate it. So this band is on top, so I'll shade next to it on each side, and that will indicate that it is on top. Okay, so whoever's on top gets shaded next to, not on. Okay, we'll do this with, I think kind of with both colors maybe. Let's see how busy it gets. We really don't want to make this a super complicated piece because the elements are so small. But we do want to give, you know, distinction to everything. So it might be enough just to give us some simple shadings. Okay, then we're going to shade to shape his hands, and we'll highlight them as well. And somehow we've got to distinguish between the uppers and the lowers on these other bandages. It's going to look a little frightful by the time I get done with them. Which I guess is the whole point. Not really using any water with this float, I'm just doing it real dry. See where else he just seems to need some form. Okay, I think he looks kind of wrapped up. I think that's good. Okay, I've got my details on there, and so let's go ahead and just line everything with lamp black. Just help define all the features, and you could line probably on them as well if you want to outline them. That's good. He's got some pretty distinctive little features here with his little chin and everything. Okay, and we'll do the rest of them. Okay, we're going to go on to the mummy. And we're going to dry rub his high bandages with bleach sand. And my brush is destroyed. Gives him just a little bit of texture. Gives him a little bit of wrapped up feel. Okay, I'm going to take a little bit of desert turquoise. We're going to give our mummy just a little bit of color because he's just a little bit flat compared to our other dudes. So just let him have a little glazing so that he has a little bit of something going on. Oops. Okay, now that I've got all my stuff and my monsters on there, I'm not real happy with the center area. So I'm going to go into Indian turquoise. And I want to highlight it. Might even be able to go ahead and do my favorite kind of highlight. Let's see, let's put this guy on here. Maybe have some swishing and swirling going on. Or maybe just some cloudy, turquoisey stuff. Just some dreamy, the mist is coming down kind of stuff. Yeah, it gives it a little bit more of a walking character kind of bit strong up there. Maybe a touch of dirty brushed bleach sand. Okay. A bit more. And maybe actually just a little bit more. Okay. Love these layered kind of pieces. Okay, I'll ditch that brush and then we'll pull out one more. If you don't have a whole bunch of these dry rub brushes, the domes and the crescents, get a bunch of them. These domes are super affordable, and they do a great job. And the crescents are expensive, but they've lasted forever and they're indispensable. So let's go ahead and get a little bit of bleach sand and yellow light and have there be a couple of clouds that mist into there. Okay, and then that just kind of continues the thought. Okay. I'm putting the stencil back over because I'm going to do a little bit of glitter. I want one more layer of dimension. This is Tiger, let's see, glitter paint, Tiger Orange glitter paint. And what this is going to be like is this is going to kind of fade. It's going to allow the yellows to show through and the oranges to show through. And it's just going to add some glitter and a little bit of like vibrancy. And then it will go from the glitter on the frame to this, to all the things, and I think it'll be just the right amount of jazz. Okay, take this off and see. It's really hard to see. I guess I could show you on the camera, huh? Really hard to see on the camera, but it really, people when they go to the conventions and the booths and stuff always really pick up on it.